Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece episode 1005. So, it's finally here, after a few weeks of waiting. We are here with the first episode of the new year, which means a new opening. We're finally getting our new opening. And to be completely transparent and everything, I've seen one screenshot from it on Twitter. It's just, I didn't know that's what it was at first. I saw a screenshot of Nami and Robin together in their Wano gear, and I thought it was like really cute and everything, and I didn't realize at first that it was supposed to be from the new opening. Then I realized when I saw it, like the time and day and everything, it's like, oh wait, there's a new opening this weekend. So it's like, yeah. But I don't know anything more about the opening. I haven't heard the song. I haven't seen anything else to it. So I'm really excited. As I've been stating for quite a while in these reactions, we've needed a new opening. I thought we were going to get one with episode 1000. Instead, we just got our own little special opening specifically for that episode, which was fine, and it was a good opening. You noticed it was on my top 10 openings of 2021 list. But it was just for that episode. So we needed a new one. And luckily, they announced that there would be a new one with the first episode of 2022. Which just happens to be this episode, 1005. So, yeah. I'm definitely excited to see what we got here. Who knows what I'll think of it, because honestly, with One Piece openings, my opinion has changed on numerous occasions. There have been openings that I didn't like at first that I grew to like, and openings that I loved at first that kind of mellowed out for me. I don't actively dislike any One Piece opening. I think that they're all good and they all have their own charms and qualities to them. It's just, I have my certain orders and all, you know? And I'm excited to see where in that order the new one fits in. So, we'll see here. I'll obviously tell you my first impressions, thoughts on it. But it'll probably take me quite a few rewatches to fully determine what I think of it. Now, going into what's going to happen in the episode and all, I don't know exactly. I haven't seen any spoilers or anything for the episode. I saw like a couple things talking about the opening and all, but I haven't seen anything for the episode, luckily. Going off of where we are last time, it's just, you know, the continued raid. A lot of things are happening. We have Diaz Drake now working with our heroes. We have Marco about to fight Perospero and Big Mom. Carrot has gone out there with Wanda and is now looking at the moon. Jack is defeated and the Akazaya 9 are fighting Kaido again. All kinds of stuff like that. Yamato is still chasing after Momonosuke and Shinobu. So there's a lot of, as I've stated in the past episodes, there's a lot of plot threads currently going on in this part of the arc. And because of that, it's really, like, just hard to keep up with everything and exactly what happened when and all. But we'll get the hang of it again once we start going again. Just having a couple weeks off did definitely like make me lose a little bit of track of exactly what was happening and when. We also had those ice playgrounds that were turning the people into ice onis. So there's that too. Queen was shooting those. King is being a nuisance. A lot of shit happening. A lot of shit happening. So it's gonna be fun to see where all of that goes. Now that we're getting back into it for the new year. Um, but like I said, I'm very much excited to see where this goes, what happens, and everything. It's just continuing to be pretty great. And with Wano going into this in Act 3, I heard something I found out something kind of interesting. Apparently, during like an interview or whatnot, Oda said that he's surprised Wano is still going. Um, and it kind of makes me think like, does he, when he's writing this all, like, he obviously has a lot planned out ahead of time. Like that's been made very clear. But we also know there's a lot of things that he does kind of fly by the seat of his pants on. The Worst Generation is one big example of that, having basically come up with that like right before writing that chapter. um, but at the same time, I'm wondering, so if he's still surprised that Wano's going on, that means that he didn't necessarily intend it to be this long, but that it just kind of naturally happened that way. But it also makes me think, does that mean he's saying that Wano is probably going to end soon? Like, could it be possible that within the manga, Wano ends this year? It's possible. It definitely is. Um, Now, the original thought was that Wano was going to have a 5-act structure. Because once the act structure in general was revealed, um, everybody noted, this was mentioned in Totally Not Mark's videos on Wano, which I don't even know if those are still up, unfortunately. But in a traditional Japanese kabuki play, which the act structure based on the visuals and everything shown is clearly based off of, a traditional kabuki play has 5 acts. We are in the 3rd act currently, which is by far the longest act, longer than both the first 2 acts put together. We could have 2 more acts involved in this, I guess. But the way it's looking, we might only have 3 acts, and I'm wondering like how this is going to go if we do end up having 2 more acts. I don't know, because there's a lot of questions that goes in with that, and I don't know. This kind of seems like the climax of the arc. I could see there being an act for like being for the aftermath, like you know how like Water 7 and Enies Lobby had a post Enies Lobby arc and everything, and a lot of arcs have had that little post climax, like just settling down period. I could see like the final act being that, but then what would Act 4 be? Like, what would they do during that? Because again, it seems like this is the big climax with all the major fights happening. I don't know. I don't know. To be fair, comparing it to Alabasta, Luffy fought Crocodile a number of times, like 2 or 3 times, I believe, before he actually had the final fight with him. So, to be fair, we could just be seeing something like that, like the final fight with Kaido isn't even going to happen yet. That could happen in like the next act, and then again, Act 5 could just be like a cool down act after the fact. I don't know, and that's kind of the beauty of it. The fact that we don't know, the fact that it's still so much up in the air, is fantastic. And I'm just I'm just very hyped to see where it goes, especially since this year is going to prove to be a big year for One Piece. I believe it's an anniversary year. We have film Red coming, um, so that's something to look forward to. Um, just a lot of big stuff is going to happen this year. I feel like this is going to be a great year for One Piece, and I'm excited. So let's just get this started. See what this episode has in store. See what this new opening is like, because that's what I'm really hyped for. Not that I'm not hyped for the episode. I very much am, but new opening. Always excited for that. Um, Excited to see what we got, and for the time being, we'll hope that's just whatever this episode delivers us, it continues to be good. Um, Great, even. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I just took like 10 minutes after that to, I needed a moment. And I made the thumbnail, I watched the opening a couple more times because I kind of had to just distract myself from that after that. I will say, if there's ever one thing that a villain in anything can do to make me absolutely despise them beyond reason, it is for them to, in a very large and noticeable way. Noticeable is the wrong word. A very large and impactful way, I guess, to injure a character I love. When that happened at the end there, when Kiku got her arm sliced off by Kaido's attack, like, yeah, it's like there is not a single thing, I think, except maybe Caesar Clown. There's not a single villain except maybe Caesar Clown who has legitimately pissed me off that bad with one single thing. Caesar Clown's the only one who could be up there because of what he did with those children at Punk Hazard. But it's like I mean, I already had enough reason to hate Kaido. I already saw him as a phenomenally written but also phenomenally hateable villain. And then Oda pulls this. Now, mind you, I obviously don't think Kiku's gonna die. You can survive an injury like this. She's just, it's like Yang in Ruby. And I don't know if they're gonna be able to get her a false arm or something. I don't know how that's going to work with this series. It's possible. But to my knowledge, Shanks doesn't have a false arm, so I don't know. it's just like Kiku is one of my favorite characters in this series. And yes, I admit part of that is because of her being trans. But it's also because of her character, because of who she is. How great of a character she is, how like great of a personality he has, how amazing of a warrior she is. It's like I just really adore her character, and it's like again, seeing characters I really love being hurt, injured, just treated horribly in any way pisses me off. Like, even when I go back and watch, like, Eni's Lobby and stuff and see the way Robin is treated by Spandam and that, it pisses me off. It bothers me so much and makes me hate Spandam so much just because of how much I love Robin. And this has happened in other series too, of course. Other shows I love have done stuff like this where characters I love have been hurt badly in a lot of cases. And it always just, it gets to me. Because, like, yes, they're fictional characters, but you do grow an attachment to them, either through relatability or other connections, or just because they make you feel happy. And sometimes in this world, that's all you need. So seeing them getting hurt legitimately scares and angers people. And yeah, we still understand that they're fictional. We still get that. That's not gonna change, but that doesn't mean we can't still feel emotions. If a show or a video game or anything, a movie, makes you feel emotions about the characters within them, it's doing its job. I mean, people don't say anything about when the MCU does that. Like, oh, we cried when Iron Man did his final snap. We cried when Cap went away, and all. It's like, but, oh, if you're crying at like anime characters, you're a loser. It's like, shut up. It's the same thing. But anyways, yeah, that, like, I'm really surprised that I held it back enough to not scream at that moment. But let's talk about some other stuff, because I can't just talk about that this entire time. Let's talk about the opening. Let's start with that. Like I said, I watched it a couple more times. It's not like it's bad or anything. It's just that the song is good. The visuals are good. Both of them are good. They do not mesh. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a circular hole. They do not fit. You can't do it. They don't match at all. The visuals honestly look like they would be expecting a more upbeat pop song or even a lighter rock song. Something very light and fluffy like this theme, while good, does not fit the visuals at all. Not to mention, doesn't fit One Piece openings. Like, you listen to the openings of One Piece, they all have a very specific sound to them. Like, pretty much every opening, like, you listen to it just blindly and you could tell it's a One Piece opening. Because they all have a very certain sound to them. Even if they're all done by different artists and all have different styles and whatnot to them, they still sound like they all fit within each other. This one is so far removed from that, though. And again, the visuals are too, like, intense, I guess you could say, for what this fluffy, light song would imply. Like, this song would work better for, like, one of the earlier series openings where it like shows all the crew like walking together and just like fun and joy, and shows them like going shopping or like having a cookout on the beach. You know, there's stuff from the old openings. Like this would fit something like that because it feels kind of like a slice of life opening. That's what this song feels like and sounds like, a slice of life opening. It does not fit. And on that note, it's also just really generic sounding for anime. It's a really generic sounding anime theme. Like, you could imagine this playing with anything. You could imagine this playing with, like, any kind of slice of life series. Literally any one, and it would fit. You could imagine it playing with a lot of other shows, too, of any genre. And it would just kind of fit. It would just kind of work. Because it's generic. The problem is One Piece openings aren't usually like that. And so it stands out for the wrong reasons. So it's like I'm kind of disappointed by that. But again, this is first impressions. I've only watched it 3 times currently. It might grow on me. And there is some stuff that's really good about it. So I'm not going to show it on screen because I don't want to give Toei any reason to exploit the system and come after me. But going through this opening, like at the very beginning, it shows Luffy catching his head, and then it shows like this roster of legends. I want to talk about this. It's at the very beginning of the opening. We see Whitebeard, Roger, and then we see I guess you could kind of say, silhouetted form, though it shows a little more than I think we've ever seen before, of Rox D. Zabek, who is a major character in this series, and is the captain of the Rox Pirates, where multiple of the legends of this world once served in, such as I believe Whitebeard was a member when he was young. I believe Big Mom was, Kaido was. It's like all of these characters, and it's like you see this form of Rox there, and it's like, is this the first time Rox has been featured in an opening? And if so, what the hell does that mean? And then after him is Shanks, before turning to Kaido, who we see in a half form, a half transformed form, which we actually haven't seen before. So the opening kind of spoils that, but openings can tend to do that sometimes. Plus, I admittedly have seen that before. I've seen the visual of what his half form looks like. Just getting that out there. But we see some shots of the different like characters and all, the bad guys, the good guys. We see Odin, we see King and Queen fighting. We see what looks to be maybe Cypher Pole Zero. Looks like they're sitting in the room drinking sake when like everything's happening outside the room. I think that's Cypher Pole Zero based on their masks. And if so, that's very concerning. We didn't know they were there, right? We see Diaz Drake and Hyogoro. There's a big moment in here with Yamato facing down his father, which turns into Ace very fittingly, which also very fittingly turns into Marco. The head of Onigashima, the skull, and Kaido himself, Luffy fighting Kaido, which, yeah, of course, they gotta show that. We have Robin, what looked like Black Maria on a spider, and then just the crew fighting various people. We have Page One and Alti like making like rar faces at the camera, which is fucking hilarious and adorable. Big Mom joining the fight. More Luffy versus Kaido, including in Kaido's half form. And then it does, after that, show clips from the episode. I was actually wrong about that. I said afterwards that I didn't think it did. But that's because it didn't like make a big point of it like it has in previous openings. Like in previous openings, it makes sure you know when it's showing the clips from the episode. In here, it just very casually fades into it. So I didn't even realize while watching it that they were clips from the episode. But then it goes back into Luffy being pulled out of the water by Kid and Law, who launch him, just yeet him, before showing just a shot of the crew on the Sunny. And then it goes into the crew's like character duos. We have the girls, Robin and Nami. We have Zoro and Sanji, Chopper and Usopp, Brook and Frankie, and Jinbei and Luffy. Before showing the entire crew shot, and that's kind of where it ends, with the ship flying off into the sunset, or sunrise actually, maybe. But yeah, like the visuals are great. They are fantastic visuals. They look great. They don't seem to spoil too much that I can tell, but obviously things will probably make more sense as we go along, as openings tend to do. I'm not going to go in any further than this and nitpick every little thing, try to see every little thing. I've already seen, like, there's already stuff in there that it's, like, kind of spoilery. But yeah, it's just my issue with the song and the visuals don't mesh. Like, they're good on their own, but they don't fit together, and the song just doesn't fit with One Piece. It just doesn't work here. It's too generic. It's too bland. It's good, but in terms of like just anime openings, it's kind of weak, if I'm being honest. And it's definitely not the best opening of One Piece. But again, I'm gonna definitely have to see it more times before I can truly like say where I would rank it with One Piece openings. And I definitely have to see it more times before I can truly say like what I think about it as a whole. So we'll see how that goes. But talking about the actual content of the episode, so there's three kind of main focuses in this episode. There's the focus on the playgrounds. There's the focus on Jinbei coming to Luffy and Sanji's aid. And then there's the focus on the continued fight against Kaido. That's what this episode really touches on. So with the playgrounds, it's not really showing much of anything new. We're seeing just, okay, they're continuing to turn. It's very much contagious. Like if you touch them or if they touch you or bite you or whatever, then you're definitely going to turn as well. Very much, well, actually even worse than zombie rules, because like even if they just touch you, so kind of even worse than zombies. Though honestly, if a zombie touches you at that point, you're probably gonna die. Like, just saying. If a zombie gets close enough to actually physically touch you, you're probably dead. Like 9 times out of 10. There are some exceptions within zombie media, but yeah, Zoro is fighting them, but then recognizes a specific one as a samurai he had come across previously. And this really causes him to hesitate and really causes him to, like, kind of panic almost. Like, he's like, come on, snap out of it. He's like, and then Chopper has to say, like, no, don't touch him. Don't do that. Like, Zoro actually got a bit shaken by that, and I like that. Zoro doesn't get too shaken too often, but we can see how much he respects the samurai. That has been made very clear pretty much ever since Ryuma on Thriller Bark. That much is a very key point of Zoro's character at this period in the show. That he very much respects and is trying to kind of like learn from the samurai. We even saw that in Punk Hazard, where he like was actively helping and following specifically to learn from the samurai of Wano. With that being Kinemon at the time. But still, I ain't get fair. It's Kinemon. But yeah, so things are just kind of getting worse there in terms of the playgrounds. So we'll have to see how that continues to go. Luffy and Sanji are fighting some nobodies. This headliner comes in who has a gorilla arm because why not? Like I swear Oda's just using this entire like this smile fruit entire deal just to be more creative. just to flex his creative muscles. He's just like making all these creative, unique, and ridiculous as hell, mind you, designs just to do so. So we see this guy, Biscola, I think his name was. He has this gorilla arm, and Luffy and Sanji could easily take him out, but they're too busy arguing over, like, how much time it would take to take him out. Because, like, Sanji's like, oh, I could take him out in 7 seconds. And Luffy's like, oh, but if I just did it, if I helped out, it'd be 3. But Sanji's like, oh, you're gonna argue over, like, 4 seconds? And it's like, this is a stupid thing to argue about, but it is 100% the kind of thing that the Straw Hats would argue over. And then all of a sudden, Jinbei just comes in and it's like, let me take care of this. And he just single-handedly takes out Biscola while those two are fighting and everything. And it's great. And Jinbei's just like, he even apologizes over it, and it's just, he's kind of adorable. Like, let's be honest, he's kind of adorable. Just seeing him, like, fit in with the crew and just, like, kind of, like, connect with them and learn how they work and learn how to, like, fight with them and everything. It's adorable to watch. It's really fun, and I like it. But again, as I said in the reaction, Jinbei is one of my favorite Straw Hats, so it's going to be really fun and entertaining to watch that because of that. But then we go back into the fight with Kaido, and after using Odin's style, the Akazaya 9 have temporarily taken down Kaido, although it's really fucking obvious that it's not over. Everyone's celebrating, and I'm thinking, like, oh, come on, you guys are smarter than this. Like, you gotta know it's not over. You gotta know that, you definitely hurt him. You definitely caused damage. You definitely made a lot of trouble for him. But in the end, you gotta know it's not over. And then Ashura Doji speaks up, and it's like, thank you. Thank you. And he's like, it's not over until we decapitate this fool. We gotta cut the head off. Until then, we can't just celebrate prematurely. And it's like, thank you. So they go to do so, but because they had celebrated too early, they gave Kaido enough time to recover. He gets back up and uses, I guess, a variation on his blast breath. He, I think, sucks in air, it looked like. I'm not going to go back and look through it all again, but it looked like he sucked in air or something, and then, like, shot it out in these, like, invisible, like, blades, basically. The Akazaya 9 dodged them, except Kiku, who's caught off guard. Having been behind everyone else, she's caught off guard when everyone just jumps away and fucking loses an arm. And it's just like, again, she can obviously survive this. It's not the end of the world, but it's infuriating. Again, seeing a character that you love get noticeably hurt in a very permanent way is horrifying to see. Um, in Ruby, like Yang even puts it, like I lost a part of me that's never coming back, and that's just how it is. Like, and unless there's like someone here who could like stitch her arm back on and make it work again, or unless she can get a false arm, like, yeah, that's a permanent injury. And it's horrific. And it's depressing and it's horrifying. And it's like, I don't like seeing the characters I love get hurt. Especially, like, that's a horrible injury. Undeniably so. So it's like, I'm just, I'm scared for what this is going to mean. Because this is definitely going to hurt the overall morale of the Akazaya 9 to have one of their own massively injured like this. Even if she could still fight, she's definitely going to be definitely not going to be as capable with her arm bleeding out and everything. She's probably going to be have to be sidelined. Which, I mean, we knew the Akazaya 9 weren't going to take care of Kaido. Like, we knew that they weren't going to be able to be the ones to stop him. But still. I hope Kiku gets a badass robot. I don't know how. I don't know who would make it for her, but I guess they have all those factories in Wano. Put them to good use one last time. I hate to say that, but I obviously don't use slave labor anymore. But it's just like, please give her a badass fake arm, or find some way to reattach her arm. That would definitely work too. I don't want to see her like just taken out by this. Basically, I don't want to see her like have to be taken out of action because of this injury. I'm really upset at this. I am really upset by that. So yeah, it was a good episode, and again, like obviously the her losing her arm was very effective. I won't argue that. It did what I assume Oda intended and make us freak out because he worked so hard to make Kiku such a likable character. But it's like it's well written and I can't hate it, but it just bothers me because of how much I do like her. uh, God damn it, Oda. Like, she better not die. If she actually dies, I will be. Like, honestly, I would be. This is going to be like one of the most unpopular things to say. But her death would impact me more than Ace's. I know that's going to be extremely unpopular to say, but honestly, while I liked Ace, we didn't get as much time to really, I feel, know him. I feel we've gotten a little more time to know Kiku. Maybe not because of all the flashbacks. Maybe that does help with Ace. Yeah. But either way, I care. I just like Kiku more than I like Ace. And I like Ace, and I very much like get emotional and everything when he dies. Same with the Mary. And I know it's a boat, but still. But at the same time, it's just like again, Kiku's one of my favorite characters in this entire series. And with a series like One Piece that has over 1,000 chapters, over 1,000 episodes, that has hundreds of thousands of hundreds, if not thousands, I should say, of named characters. I don't know exactly how many. But it's like, yeah, it's like seeing one of your favorites out of all of those characters like die would be horrifying. And again, while I liked Ace, he was never one of my favorites. Ace was never up there for me. I liked him, but that's about it. I know that's going to be unpopular. I know that Ace is extremely popular and everything, and I get it. I do. And again, I very much do like him. It's just I'm not I never like considered him one of my favorite characters, so his death, while it hit hard for me more because of Luffy. His death affected me more because of Luffy's reaction to it and how it affected Luffy. More so than the actual death. I mean, there was an effect because of the death itself too, but it wasn't as strong. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's just like I'm just so concerned. I'm just so afraid for Kiku right now. I don't know what to do. I have to wait a week. I have to wait a week for the next episode, and it's like, oh my god, like, that's like, that's an evil cliffhanger. That is an evil cliffhanger. But either way, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What did you think of the new opening? And if you know what's going to happen, not just to Kiku, but in the case of everything, no spoilers in the comments. Do not spoil any of this shit for me. I'm very serious right now. I want to see it as it happens. Do not tell me, like, what's going to happen if you know. I do not want to be spoiled. I really, really don't want to be spoiled on this. I mean, for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.